Assalamualaikum. أول موجود أنا كاس فكرين قلاب episode كاك بدأ كلي يامين رشيد دايكو me this week in Maldives ke February fast one aduge me weekly roundup from Daily Panic blog ke headlines ka kodoko waake dakkala mege me yamin kinat
I'm good. It's okay na.
morning kodoko ane rangalennu unge me week ever kodoko padiwe ane ನೇಫತಾ ಜೀಫಾಣಿ ವೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕೋದಕ್ಕೋ ಫ್ಲೂ ಕಾಗೋತೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೊಮ್ಮೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡೋಬಿಡು ನಂಗಳು ವಿ ಆಸ್ಕೋತೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಮಾಸು ಡಿಲೇ ವಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಬಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಸ್ but other than that
But you're getting better now.
Right, definitely. And early on in the week was very worse.
Yeah, when I had a crazy week myself. So I think this is the most we have delayed a week's recording. But let's dive into it. The haftage headline.
For the Muiz opens a disabled parking zone.
Okay. So this was actually February 2nd tweet a base of Leon headline from the housing. So did you see this when it came out?
Yeah, the original tweet, the article.
The tweet.
No, I didn't see the tweet. I only caught the story once it appeared in your blog post.
Like I said, I had a very busy week and I just glanced at Twitter. Then I found any So there's a picture of a wheelchair parked. Then me Twitter first ever parking zone in MV for the disabled established today near Buruzamago Hilali Mago Junction. #Shukriya Rais Yameen and then tags Moiz in it. The photo in Medakane Magomati Kafaneke Golia Kuraha Feta wheelchair park. And this is his idea of a disabled park in the pretty very far. I don't know the number of questions I had in my mind. First of all,
this is the same one though akala me arimati me age badal kuri week
we are going to kick for a kurika. So a disabled friendly payments kore nangada hada hotta this guy breaks them and then unbreaks them, and now he has made a disabled parking zone. So what do you think about this? Do you think Moiz does not know what a disabled parking zone is supposed to be?
What is his actual professional training? Do you know?
PhD hadafin in civil engineering.
Right, so he should technically know what it's supposed to do. Maybe he doesn't think that other people know what it's supposed to be.
No, this is not even a joke. The me the kiya for me hangula blog post hada maja leda. Like no, I did not make this up. This is a real thing that happened. This is not a joke. This is me reporting a factual statement by the tweet a quote of me hunga photo this is not satire. This is real life. So in normal countries, when you say a disabled parking zone, you mean a place where disabled people who drive can come and park their car or their vehicle. I have enough room there to open the door, slide out, get down and go about doing this. This is yes. Wheelchair I have, and somebody actually proposed maybe this is so that somebody who is a disabled person can come and park, and then the wheelchair is for his benefit. But no, there isn't enough room to park anything there. That's just enough space for a wheelchair. You cannot park a bike or a bicycle. No, you can't park there. Disabled parking zones park cycle disabled people. They can't do that. So this is not enough room for anything except a wheelchair. So you can't. There is no explanation for this, Adivis. they could have just drawn the square and left it at that and taken a picture. Maybe people would not have gotten it. But no, the size was fenna got a wheelchair.
For comparison purposes, he is a wheelchair.
Yeah. And where did they even find this wheelchair? Miss me a wheelchair that's obviously used by somebody. Where is he? And did it not like photo nagang emi hong again? Did this not strike anybody as being awkward? This is how does this work in Moises' head?
I don't know. Text disabled. We have receive wheelchair.
But then that's not a wheelchair. That's a I don't know. It's not a disabled parking. The parking when you keep a vehicle, they are not your wheelchair. This is a trolley standing a wheelchair jaha for bahatam with the no could them as a wheelchair ban of a that this makes zero sense. But this happened and I reported on it and people think it's a joke. It is not a joke. This happened in Male this week.
Unbelievable though.
And then I found some other details in this picture. Look at this. There are 14 cans of white paint in this to draw that line. I was like, this sort of struck me as Moises, I don't know, lack of preparation, over preparation.
Well, it looks like American photo stage manage though.
No, they were press people. I mean, I think a press person. And these are people who come and see this thing happen, and nobody thought to ask. So, what exactly are we looking at right now? Though how is this supposed to work? Have you ever spoken to a disabled person or an organization that helps disabled people? Is this based on any consultancy or real life thing? Or this is just a headline that they wanted to put up? I don't know what to say.
Me photo to purple color shirt and love for me. Are they like officials? No, me light blue a media me head though.
Media me so I think they brought the media people. Do you see the parking and a sign?
Yeah.
There's also fresh cement at the base of it. So they just put this up, drew a line, and it's like, okay, we now have a handicapped, disabled people parking zone. I don't know how to deal with this. I think the whole world's gone crazy. Kahala feeling and done and you can't.
Now that we're talking about this, do you think that somebody somewhere is embarrassed or shamed or any of that happening?
I'm sure the disabled people are. And like they look at it. Fuck is this though? But I don't know. Like how did they no, this thing probably went through an approval process. Somebody decided somebody arranged for that wheelchair. This is all things that happened leading up to that point. And at no point did it strike anybody that I wonder what we are doing. Maybe we should Google what a disabled parking zone looks like. But that never happened.
It's just bizarre that someone somewhere thought the disabled parking like a wheelchair, and that's the size it should be.
Sometimes I feel Moise is just trolling us Gastuga. Because I think the last week also I put like maybe Moise is just trying to get into my weekly roundup headline every week just to see what happens, and then he just does this. Yeah.
Right. So second Maldivian jihadist on trial for fighting in Pakistan. This is from the other guy though.
Yeah. I think in our last video we discussed the top militant from Waziristan. So me adeha reputed me and there was very little information about him except that he was intending to go to join this militancy. For fighting Pakistan, yeah.
Okay, he was going to Pakistan.
No, he was in
He was
Pakistan because I think the headline said for fighting in Pakistan, right?
okay.
So I was actually thinking, this is a bit anticlimactic for these people because when you have this vision of I'm going to go to jihad and
Then
die and
Paravegan
become
Sorugai.
martyred and ega badalo you and find yourself in the Maldivian courtroom with I don't know Justice Bari on there and aslo bara kadavane the when
Parakkadawan.
you are subscribing for this big package and then you get a courtroom and all the drama and you're kept in I don't know
Adi uri
Doom.
hakame nimine maganekka donyakka ngaru ambidiyalo wangen bas chalugali egga banda.
What kadavane?
Parakkadawan.
It's like this is not the way I pictured my life. It's
Ika
that's like
hadyade virgins ge badalu gaenge just ane kike jalugadu goliterege tibe mihuna
uh,
Fahanashya Koranji Hemiyona. That's not 72
that's
virgins.
it's like this is not quite what I had in mind. Though, does he feel regret or does it like when I get out of here, maybe 10 years or 20 years from now, then I'll get the virgins? I was like, but the nearest the here on the Jalagon now,
Adi
for
Marus
instance.
Wanje.
Adi negada hisaba there like if there's going to be any wars left for him to fight, it just uh, like Saudi Arabia and also on the so like 20 years from now you don't know if there's anybody funding your war.
Me
It's just
Saudi Arabia reform wagan ready wani ye kiyagen wara wahaka vedo.
they can't. it's um they're like that's I think of them as a country that is uniquely not in a place where they can reform because the society halak of so they cannot develop institutions and things now. It's like okay, now we're running out of money, we don't have alternate sources of income, then hajjada mihun atong naga taxan nagagan kannege mihun aslu survive kurabe because that is not going to go.
Do you not think it's possible Saudi Arabia reform Webataluwa? Because that actually paints a very bleak picture and note that Saudi reform Nuwane Kama Kabul Kurabo.
If it reforms, it will not be by the current administration.
Of course, me assuming that administrations Hama Badalwan me kingdom it would pass down to the next era. Every single time maybe it gets to be much more liberal or any of that, but at some point it should and know that there has to be a breaking point.
No, it will end, but will it end in a way that is good for all those who are involved? I've been reading a lot about Prince Salman and his agenda and the defense. Sorry, not Prince Salman, the other one, the defense minister guy. He's been planting stories everywhere. Sorry. So he's the second. He's not even the crown prince. He's the second in line or something. I'm forgetting the details. I'm sorry, but this is the like he's the face of the monarchy and the one in charge of this sovereign fund and this investment fund and Hadafa. He's imposing new taxes and stuff, but it just seems very hollow to me. They're just making things up and none of them seem well thought out to me. Have fundamental change I just don't see it happening. There are other
religious group ke backlash any change
yes, misalnya Dubai tantaga they want to be like the next Singapore or Hong Kong global hub kadda emiham Bombay but Dubai it's not Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia go like my friends when they want to you know enjoy their weekend, they go to Dubai because Dubai has sort of, it's not free necessarily, but you still have bars and clubs and things. Saudi Arabia, where you make a lot of money and you have zero ways to spend it apparently. So there's no cinemas, no parks, no nothing that like where you can go and hang out with somebody. Eha strict social segregation and impose for huriha institutions the duwala once you like take away all intellectual um, basis from society huriha intellectual stuff is aslo me like the Saudi poet who was harassed recently, and I don't know, they have this anti-cultural anti-intellectual and I don't think you can build a civilization out of that.
Me ekamaku
uh, hmm.
any inability to reform this would mean that Islam itself would always be embroiled in foreign policy issues with other countries. A concern mark and Duga.
No,
Because
but
it is
Saudi.
Mecca of a home of Islam got to go, but there's a portrayal and not
No,
the
no, no. If Saudi Arabia collapses, I actually foresee a better future for Muslims in the whole region, including Maldives. Uh, as in the Miharim, the Saudi, the monarchy plus Wahhabi nexus that's in power. It collapse with Jia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Maldives, Malaysia, all these countries are going to be thankful because Saudis are the ones who are funding everything that's happening in these societies. Aharamenge societies me destabilize me korani me. Ela ridiga kakkala me hanta train ko fami fonwani rajyega preach koranda. So I that I agree with, but I'm trying to picture Saudi Arabia as a functioning just society. The etaga rayatan namiyaslu visnani. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think they're going to become very poor and very
So
hard
basically, we're looking at something like Soviet Union collapse because House of
Mm,
Saudi collapse rather than
yeah,
the right.
yeah.
Eheng
Okay.
eheng asu itu anje, no?
Mm. I mean, you shouldn't really wish bad for others. As in, I'm not. I don't want Saudis to suffer, but unfortunately, their country is the country that is destabilizing my society. So I do have this resentment about that one thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's understandable.
Mm.
All right, next
All
topic.
right.
Raj TV
Mm.
journalist trial resumes. So here we are
Yes.
again.
Yeah. So this is Husam Fayaz Musa of Raja TV has been accused of physically assaulting a policeman, and there was a headline about the testimony. So a police guy accused him of placing his right hand on his chest and shoving him away, and there were two other witnesses, I think, who backed up this testimony. The only problem is he denies it. And he also has his witnesses saying that yeah, that never happened. He never laid a hand on them. It's the other way around. Come aslo anega. Me follow home. Aslo ene me kuri kamak kuri.
Then ehen do ka aharwan na gabul kurum bas fasih hai.
Aslo fasehi hen because on May Day when I was arrested, a whole bunch of people were arrested, like 100 and something people were arrested, and I could see them do this in real time, beating people up. I knew how they spoke to us. I know how like hama physically assault gold so I have zero trouble believing the Raja TV journalist's version of the story. And I thought it was a really good opportunity for me to put up Edney Cha Exim's picture again.
Yeah.
Because this is what they are. This is who they are. And when they come and say, like, we will make you regret. So, yeah, I entirely believe the Raja TV journalist's version.
Me,
But
yeah, but Rajatri, Asuga, I can't understand how they think that people actually are going to buy their version of this story. Though Raj Malakala Kanka.
I don't think they really care. I don't think they
Essentially,
care about.
dekala paperwork process kofubawa.
But for apparently what happens is Kotak goes me Fulunga Faratum Bayan Demi has not even the person who was at the scene. So in my case, I was accused of including attacking the police with projectiles, missiles, and I don't know. Uh, and I wasn't even arrested from the place they said I was arrested from. They come Allah gandi hua ko mi fashion. And that actually struck me because these are the same people di nattaka gawattaka bagavekko. Ekamakoneddo kotaggos hama
Prabhuwa
maimallagandi
koram
hua
be
koffa.
maso kedo.
Yeah, I mean like hama flawless delivery though like this happened. No, it's a balage Kiani, like he's not even the guy who was at the scene, but he is testifying that this happened.
How is that
Then
justice?
it's not justice, but
How's that even a trial?
yeah,
Maybe
but
trial like gawan with the key kama behe mi hun time bo wanje.
yeah, no, it wasn't exactly a trial. It was me remand hearing the
Nice.
katahogig nimendeng ma etag managad ko lang. But regardless, I mean, I know what I saw, and everybody I think understands this is bullshit. So yeah, that's about the police.
Wagutu website defaced wahaka. I did not know that.
You did not?
I did.
So yeah, I saw this tweet. Some girl puts up this picture of and then I look, it's like explicit porn on the site. Somebody took over their website and put up nudes, not nudes, like explicit porn, like dick pics and stuff. And I don't know why that made me happy, but it did.
I'm sure a
I was
lot of
hoping
people.
like they did not get it back because Tankada Koring Amiga Twitter handle was somebody took over and they never really got it back. So they had to create a new Twitter handle and continue from there.
Ekota website
Because
muling gendonnama dengama.
website ada dengi sabung hatante. But unfortunately it was back a few hours later. I don't have a very good opinion about Vagutu in case you are wondering.
No. None of us have any good opinion about Wagutu.
Yeah, it's not even a respectable tabloid though. Yeah, it's like even tabloids can be funny or snarky or they can have some personality. This thing does not have ever. It's just crass and entirely rubbish. And
Me අනෙකත් එක්ක ඔයාලන මේ කීකද කියන්නේ ඇමරිකාගේ right wing crazy ගොල්ලන්ට ඔයාලන මේ I forgot his name මේ YouTube channel එකකින් ගානේ they talk about conspiracies and stuff.
and I think I know the guy you're talking about. I also don't remember his name.
Alex Jones the check.
Yeah. That's one.
එමිහුන්ගේ අනේ category එකව සස්තකුණු දාන්නේද is it going there?
No, there is no consistency in anything that these guys report. And this is an actual story that happened. Some teenagers in a school were making out in a stairwell or something like that. That's like regular shit that happens all the time. Me the copies make a fennigan udago again in a posting like somebody a god-awful shit fountain of a news website operated by sexually frustrated teenagers. And that's exactly how I picture it, as sexually frustrated teenagers who can't deal with the reality that yes, people make out sometimes. It's okay, especially teenagers. This is not a news story though. So
they understand me outrage or backlashing about every time they do something like that. Maybe they
No,
just
it's
do it.
clickbait. Yes.
They're doing it on
There is
purpose.
no. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I never click on a Vagutu link unless it has porn on it, though, like when recently. But when I know that's not making them money, I can click on it. But otherwise, I don't. Um, no, but Vagutu also did this piece once when they were trying to seed false stories about real one CD at the Kamang Hada. They made a website and Bhagata published a story on it. And it's it's ridiculous. So no, so
Well,
it's a very very
yeah,
rubbish site. I just
definitely.
hope somebody does it again and then doesn't come back.
Right,
Yeah.
next story at the
Mm.
Maldives clerics roll out wide-ranging religious agenda. I'm
Mhm.
glad actually Paekang Kannu, him and Ekang. Okay. I come up with the fact that now they have a list of things to do. Me
Mhm.
Hinganje Ekang come, that's concerning.
Um, Here's my take on this. Okay. I'm trying to give them the benefit of doubt. Um, So what they have done is there was a 3 day long conference, and they had some foreign clerics as well as these local people. And I think the task that they're trying to arrive at is to define extremism. And in their mind, the way this is supposed to happen is ekkalamihuna jaganudi more religious narrative harmane control kurane hisab. And while saying things like monoborgarlagen extremism and noon, which is fine. Like just because you have a beard and wear ankle length pants are not does not make you an extremist. I know like perfectly decent people who do that.
Hmm.
But my most fundamental problem with this is that like we will be the ones who will be telling children about jihad and ege the true Islam is defined.
Hmm.
And I feel like the reason why we have arrived today at this stage is precisely because somebody was on this pulpit and saying this is true
Mie
Islam, and
merangalugotakido.
uh, yeah. And unfortunately, when they did that, I find there is no difference actually between Rajya Miskitakum Miharus Dineki Afedakka Wahaka. There is no contradiction between that and what the ISIS or the Al Nusra or the Al Qaeda does. A logical conclusion like yes, like if the Jews are out to harm you, if they are trying to undermine your religion, if they have nothing but hatred and jealousy and hasadaverikam towards you, of course they're your enemy, and of course once you're an enemy, you get to go to war against them. Anyway, you can't have it both ways. You can't. Misaka, one of the agenda items that they proposed was foreigners living in the Maldives must not be mistreated, and they must be ensured a safe environment, which is a very nice to hear thing. But mihem buna bahatta faneddu miskitangara usmidakka nenekka yahudin neki
Yahudin,
afa.
yeah.
Uh, so you can't have a xenophobic, paranoid worldview and at the same time say rajyangana fataruwarinna me mihunna kimi rangalu mihunna the aharmana dollar libenya they are nice, if they are outside the country they are bad. That is not a sustainable um, narrative. Uh, so yeah.
How do you begin to even address a mentally who jump kura hoops the masala, because they can't keep doing both though. The problem is
And
virtually unsolvable as long as they refuse to recognize the problem as it is.
I actually mentioned this to one of the sheikhs I met at a conference recently. He was also suggesting something like this. Waki bayaka economy hudda deno dini wahakadakka. But and then he will be the one giving out this certificate. I was like, why is the answer to everything to control the whole thing? Mushaterega lagandino kenguland, and that's probably the reason why it's failing. maybe the solution is to open it up. Yeah, then it becomes a marketplace of ideas.
E,
Hisab
e,
the
e, e,
better ideas will get mainstream
Erum
hold. Yeah.
blasphemy laws badalno koshe I'd benu hawa ke dakka kan hulwenu levenendo. Erum se
Um.
badenu fundamental change dinuge
Mhm.
kankan higagota. Blasphemy laws has to be removed.
Yeah. Basically, state control over religion has to be removed, and that's what we call secularism. Um. Hisab the Salafis can go to their Salafi mosques and listen to their Salafi people and lead their Salafi life. It's okay, but at the same time, they do not have a monopoly on Islam. At that time, the liberals or the moderates, so you can call whatever tag you call it, but mainstream appeal on it, magabol and Wahhabism and Salafism. It just isn't. It
No,
only
it doesn't.
exists
No.
when there is nothing alternate to it. Kada birodakkagan ane you have to have this for a xenophobic worldview to accept that. But once you have this sort of free platform where people can talk about things sensibly and challenge them and question them, it doesn't stand up to every scholar scrutiny. That's what I've found out.
No, I agree.
Emion survive kureveni hamayekane so every swala no kureve kahala mahol dekka. And that is what state control of religion gives them. And I think that's why they are against it.
Uh, Immune nanget du kollagen no tibe do hamma we will work
Ah,
on this at the end of the day this comes down to kiha warakatto we do de ni do in the end.
because one of the action points they have prescribed is they're going to implement programs to provide accurate information. They're going to on jihad, and
Mm.
they're going to take action to stop actions that violate Islamic Sharia. Islamic Sharia is not codified anywhere. It is whatever the person says it is. And they're going to provide correct information to those who encourage such activities and then rehabilitate them and reintegrate them. But what is this correct information? It's not, these 50 people in a room coming up with the correct information. It's correct information is things that come from debate or
I
bahus
mean
kongge to eke hagigate aslu wambi ko tengenge
intellectual space ngolu we gendo ekam korewan bahus ko mete.
ewa nudak kenya asli you don't know why this is supposed to be right. But if this idea can be challenged, questioned, and if they have the answer, then of course I'll be convinced. Ekama community me saha malumatake, but you cannot question this. That does not. Then ego the saha malumat bati be the underground me hum bes.
Ehem ya ehem
Eh
sector ka
mihar
wahabinu.
farid stage angara de saha malumat no ministry mihar me libene. Ministry libe malumat no ana shami mo me dene. So
Saha
there
malumat
is
ko
this.
saha malumat ko ba?
Uh, I don't know, but this is the problem I have it. But if these two or these three people can sit on a stage, talk it out among themselves, and I can listen to it, and if something doesn't make sense to me, if I can question it, and if then I can decide which of these is makes the most sense, which of these cannot stand up to scrutiny. I think that's the only way we can arrive at a solution to this. Like,
Mige
mihan Batman nandeka.
amigas emme ideal kan edo mi between the sex debate ko gen wahaka dakkage public discussion takagada e kan
That even that has a moderating influence. Misal I had the Rajya Sarkar again at Tariq Ramadan and Mufti Menk, and they are like reputed to be more liberal and more moderate by reputation than Kuring Mekana Zakir and Nightman Kahala cartoons. So, but but even then there were people in Malay who said, Tariq Ramadan, he's not a real scholar, he's a Western stooge. Mufti Venk is an American agent. Maybe the world we a conflict for Huri Hatcher, Kuri bag a tegu this is somebody you should not listen to. Why? Because he's an American stooge or a Western stooge. Then you're not you're not telling why he is wrong. You're not saying uh, his idea of something is incorrect because this clearly says something else. There is no intellectual debate. And Amiha goes for Abadus.
Abaduism.
Tariq Ramadan is a professor of religious studies. He has some intellectual background. You have to give it to him. You might not agree with him, but he has a consistent message in his worldview. This is not how these guys see it. So I have a problem with that.
ඒ වාණගතකයේ හල්ලන්න කරවෙන්න මින් අනෙන්
And this is why I wonder why, especially people like Farid and his ilk, why do they still oppose secularism? Because emihonna ves nedda rangalu gote mege. Because Farid I think Darus Dinamaka certificate to Sifatta Molonkan. I think it was revoked. There were some legal issues. I get calling anything but me. And this only happened because he could not speak his mind freely in Maldives because somebody else is controlling the religion. If that was taken away, he has his platform, he has his mosque, he can go and speak. It is okay. The only problem is somebody else will challenge him.
Right. But you can secularism you can choose to be the Muslim you want to be
yeah, so that's why I said this is complete horse shit is the word I used, especially in the Maldives.
It is. Right, let's go to the next one. It's a cover no.
No. That's the next one. Is Maldives holds a landmark
conference on tourism
and terrorism. So Kurumba resort ga Devaraj ga follow honna ingiresi vilataga counter terrorism experts met with around 120 resort representatives to discuss security measures from potential there were muhim was kamek karne ga hagigatuga because right now I don't think there are any mechanisms to prevent one of these lunatics to take a boat, go to a resort and just shoot up everybody. This is entirely doable. The background for this is the ISIS drama is sort of winding down. They are losing in Syria, more or less.
Which is what that they would eventually come back to your countries and then local
so these are people that don't give a shit about society or economics or structure
or human lives
or human rights or lives or anything. There is no, like I said, intellectual basis for their view of society. They just know that Miharu mi corrupt system dubala fiya denganane marangalu vechada auto which is not how anything works, but this is how they believe it to be. Then Sheikh Nagaha may just put him in charge and everything will be fine. But yeah, so this is the background, and so they had some discussions about how to go about protecting their resorts, I suppose. I thought it was important.
was the conference found reporting and discussions briefing public
so only PSM was allowed to cover this. No other media was on Kurumba for the coverage, so
you think it would be important enough for everybody to be invited and all of that?
Media should be there, something of the scale, but media was not invited apparently. It's just PSM. So we have stage manage even the flow of information is strictly controlled. So that's all I have about that.
Alright, next one. President announcement revives rumors about sale of Maldives atoll to Saudi Arabia.
Those called veggetame wahaki veta.
Ekamakul,
රාජ්‍යක
mulin rumor
අතොල
eddo apa
කාලාවහක
this
දක්කන
yeah, it's not constructive kon nengi in the for them what happens just one day it's going to be a surprise we sold it at the panangan.
අස්ල දෙක තවල රයතන්න සිංගෙන් ජයහන කන්නේද එම අතොල වික්කා ලැෆියම Saudi regime. But I think the whole this rumors were around since before the SEZ bill.
SEZ
So if you
bill
have
shape we mikal I think dealing atu go again karne do
එක්කද $1 billion එකන්නගේ invest කරීම එමිහුන්න මිහෙ කරවෑන, and they also get permanent ownership under the කීකතෙක් කියන්නේ freeholders. Some amendment was done so that they can have a permanent ownership over the land. So රාජ්‍යයක මුලි අතොල බික්කාලාවාහක මෙදක්කන්න I don't see the sort of rage and GMR මස්සලයක නිකුත් දිහහස් මිහම් මිහාර තිබි කොන්තාකු බය සිතන් just contrast this. This was an airport management mideni by a contracting hada vihara versus රාජ්‍යයක මුලි අතොල බික්කාලානේ. You should proportionately extrapolate Korea's. There should be riots out there right now, but there is nothing.
Me wahakatang abad lupeg gati begen dakka hawa hendo iwani.
Kobe me har wahodat istiglal I don't know. දීනට්ටක ගහමට්ටක නිකොම් මේහො අර බගාවාත ප්‍රශ්න කර ෆොල්හම සිති බෙන්නේ හැම බස්සහයගෙන් යාමින් බොනි හකමක් කොද්දීගෙන්. So it's
wara pase size way benge me haran ekka me midetere ekala kikata kiyani salaf me hon anakatu koriyana.
I saw that headline. I think I'll cover it this week. But ihute charge kodde and it sounded to me like a contract offer. It's like me, if you pay us this much, ihute charge kodde and like we'll arrange this for you. It's like no, it doesn't sound right. Every second mekama goligane es mono buruga masala gaama vikkalias heyo mono buruga nagam bona fiya evara boda masala. So you can see the sense of proportion and their sense of what do you say, ekalemi and latch on kura issues are things that have almost no relevance compared to the larger picture, which is why I said I think one of our discussions there was this dude who put up my tweet or my Facebook post Communist jihadist gole the main Facebook kamila ne mage Twitter screenshot or something. I was like, and he has zero mention of MMPR sevak like Kama Vikala Nerekola or the corruption or the child abuse or the I don't know, all of these things are happening, but no. Yameen Rasheed the Facebook get name. This becomes his agenda for the week, and I find it very hypocritical and cowardice asloe.
Ma me chame du mer me kodoko visna mer asgo bogo wani do itura by far itangara is it really worth it heye me kama med havara ulimbas.
No, I just wanted to point out their hypocrisy. Then I don't expect them to not. I don't expect them to do anything about it. I just want to point the finger and say, this is what you really are, given in an actual national crisis or actual things of importance. You do not speak up. You will just go back and hide and disappear.
No, true.
Some random shit.
It needs to be called out and repeat one.
And these are the moments when you find out what these so-called Dini people or the Istiglal people or the Wahadat people are. They are nothing. They just covered. Sanni wouldn't do anything. He will just let them speak. And they don't really want that. So and it's hypocritical of them.
All right, so let's move to the next story. Rasheed arrives in Colombo.
So yeah,
finally addressed some important things about Enage candidacy, Adangule Vekota Urihachi.
Mm,
I actually appreciated him doing the interview.
yeah.
So I've got a clearer picture. But you think MDP should? Well, he
I
says
think
there's
it's
going to
going
be a
to.
primary, though, and but he's going to also
Uh,
run.
yeah, except I don't think anybody's going to run against him. Nobody ran against Hassan Latif for the chairpersonship. I think MDP has reached a stage where there is the right way, and the right way is decided by the top. Mihar Nasheed Burni madang ego tashedo kamban jehene. So now Nasheed has announced his candidacy. I honestly cannot picture say somebody like Ibo Soliho or anybody else in the party actually saying, you know what, maybe let's have some competition. I will also run for this. Hisabong ena. Mihar
It would be political
kantate.
suicide for that person.
It would
Simply,
be political
yeah.
suicide for that person because it will be seen as challenging, Nasheed. And I find that thought disturbing.
Yes, it is because
Yeah,
this is
it is.
not a democracy anymore. Fond of
Okay, internal democracy government about the Masul. I mean, yes, Nasheed is popular. Yes, he is a national hero, but
then
there
he has
should be
every right to
space for dissent.
run for it, as
He
man.
has every right to run, yes, but there should also be this mental space as well as legal space to challenge him openly and call him out and like a kind of dissent should be that. Of course, when somebody wins the primary, then you sort of back that candidate. That's fine. I sort of feel that the room for dissent and opposition within the party has evaporated somehow. If you think about 2008 and the lead up to that, I think MDP had a large variety of leaders with different viewpoints,
True,
and
true.
so I
But
think your dad was also there, and there was.
kamugawi was inge that culture of asuga disagree wa kankamu difficult kankama meduwa kadekuma that culture never existed inge although there were variety of leaders.
Yeah. I know because it was a necessity tereng embeng as
Hmm.
ekechami hedi though, but I think that should have continued instead of one person dominating the thing because when one person dominates the whole thing, then there is the party itself becomes weak. I feel because party institutions and party bodies and party internal discipline and democracy hori has a gelligang about that because they're not being put to the test or
Plus
they're not being
magam tagang
used.
hoy fitibe mihong gabil ka ma mihong full potential la work
Ah,
kurma mihong leadership pa none of that is
mm.
available for us to experience or know.
I have because I grew up in India. In India, there is historically the party that always led the government was the Nehrus and the Gandhis, like Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and so on. And then Sonia Gandhi was elected, but then she gave the prime ministership to somebody else. Kamadhi was Congress party ka leader and Sonia Gandhi, and when she goes, there will be Rahul Gandhi. So there is one position in the party's leadership, the highest position that is not up for grabs. It only belongs to this family. And yeah, the Gandhis are popular, but that does not justify this position being, like nobody can ever have that ambition to reach there. Then hisab kantata diyama. The only people around them would be the loyalists to the family. Anybody who threatens that will be discarded. And that is not good for the overall internal democracy.
No, of course.
Yeah, Khilafa. India ke BJP party, like the current ruling party with Modi in it. I have always found that very impressive about them because they always have this generations of leaders who are groomed to step up, when this happens. So earlier there was generation and there was Vajpayee, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and LK Advani, his deputy. Then Emi Muskurli and retire. There was this second rung of leadership ready to take on. And there were this super types and there was this more conservative ones. Current foreign minister Sushma and Modi and Arun Jaitley, and they were all these people of different backgrounds and calibers and skills, and they were all at the same level, and they were all contesting this, and some guy won. And Kapati Terega, the respect was there. I'm sure they disagree with him on many things, but and they even call him out sometimes Adives. But a process of Hingado, and there are all these leaders available. The game he retire Aneka of the hand generation.
And that's how it should be, though.
That's how it should be. And I feel there's nothing anybody can go to any position in the MDP. But then there is also this. Given the current conditions, is it wise to have dissent? And I'm like, yes, that is how you become stronger, when you have dissent. So yeah.
What a powerful unelected Mihung MDP debate, though. We keep talking about Anni Noom, what a powerful Mihung Masamole. We see, well, I can't think of names at the top of my head. I come me Lanka just the Feneric color. Me garden Nikat and Nectar Salankuram begging him at the beer. Then there are just faces, some of them. It's like, no, you're not.
But the party officials are not that.
Not everyone holds office, though. Party.
I know there's a shadow cabinet. There was one of the pictures that I saw, and then there was animating locals. And there were a lot of people who actually flew to Colombo, which I found very interesting. And this is why Nasheed is at the top of the party, because I don't think a lot of 90, 100 people would fly to Colombo to meet any other leader in the Maldives.
I mean,
it's only Nasheed that who commands that kind of attention. But I feel if it was a fair, primary, Nasheed would win. But my only problem is there is not a feeling that somebody could contest Nasheed and still survive politically and be respected within the party. That sort of betrays MDP's democratic credentials.
Which comes down to the next segment. May court throws out lawsuit challenging new call for candidates for local council. Lawyer Anya Batokura Sutta.
I was actually at the court when I heard this story. That court masala beru kollafi MDP masala hushehli faratam court ka hazir nuweda de faham habar mengene hushehli miha sorry Anya Batokura Lanka.
Priorities, dude, priorities.
Like on the one hand, because this is a lawsuit challenging court to get ruling on the local council intihab laskori masalaga. It's like, yeah, eta sate ka bihung ka haggo dami hati. Ede deva kora kasle court masala hushala fa de Lanka Nashida Badukura. But then I think he was also a party official, so party secretary general was the guy who did this. So I'm sure he had duties according to this. But surely not turning up to court abure. I don't know if he could have requested for a delay or something like that.
This court
you could request
mind you, maybe you cooperate no fine or they have you stick with the court date, but you can change party gang. Well, visit could be just
you take care of this Vaguti got the Secretary General contact.
But mind you, this is about the party contest Kurangole election. This is not a Secretary General get job. This is party entire platform key point.
I just thought the headline funny that sorry, Nasheed is in town. Bye bye. Your council election can go jump off cliff. So that was a very stupid reason for it to be thrown out. That's
gone.
I mean, not like they were going to win anything from the court, but still, turn up though. That's the most basic thing you can do. Okay, next headline.
Police officers await January wages after Finance Ministry rejects salary sheet. So, maybe Musaranu didn't hama.
Sarukaru gasto me follow honge musaru bodu kori waha kaduwe henta not musara board kori komme allowance emmenna de gotan housing allowance akka then hisabon ekkada kori nuahas libe mi hanga libe mi har 13 so everybody was getting a significant jump in their salary and they were like all looking forward to this. Now I have no way to verify this, but from what I hear through the grapevine, people are not happy with this pay hike. People who are not in the police, people like in the next building, like the MNDF and uh, other people's like Poluhunna, Ebelibeda Musara Bodukomi Katata, and A K Harangalugotan known as you're like so. Maybe a salary sheet for name a finance minister reject to Korea. For Devanafara for name Devanafara is reject to Korea. So there is some internal dispute over where this should be done. Then Fulham, in Burnagotham, these funds were allocated, and finance ministry in Burnagotham. I can guarantee you 100% that there is no issue with cash flow, which sounds, and that's not the question that was asked though. And they don't answer it outright. They just say there's no problems. Then system badal kurati and but I don't. I hear other rumors.
So maybe they intentionally brought up the cash flow thing because it would be such a surprising, easy diversion to the story.
Yeah. Now, like in the like everything else in the Maldives, you just don't know what actually happened. Then we have a base for the headlines.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Yameen dismisses concern over massive filing debt.
Yeah, so I have no idea what he was saying. I think this was translated from Divehi, but
Shiva though. Those who shiver over the high debt, we have to. The shoulder can keep shivering. We have to shoulder. Is that how exactly it was?
He's bragging about the debt. Kala, masha vara kerigen da mulgama me. So.
Turtur naala daranya ikkobba sarvanna dan kerene vikan kurevene darani
but like we have to pay, our children have to pay, their children have to pay. So I like got to rise. Like yeah, I'm taking millions and billions in loans and I'm not afraid of it. Like of course you're not the one who's going to pay it back. He's not going to suffer, but other people are, and yeah.
At the most one got the kiyane the adhiyar ane fasar the term nemone mecha bedita these loans are not ane zimma wege me eligen uleka the adhiyar no joni meni muni.
It's not like he's concerned over the present though. Forget the future. Yeah, no. But that like a Kudak was Jahilam with us. Like maybe we are overdoing this, but no. Millions in bonds and I don't know, T-bills and loans. Yeah.
It really can't be the mihar madama ofi and nikuma famia duguri konkame kura me then irkorane denji gonda me agla finance minister gola ve mikan kura and lari buri. Do you think they're doing it like that right now? Because that would just be stupid. That's not how you run a country.
It's not, but it is how he's running the country.
Like
Because think about Wahid. He threw GMR out, and who had to foot the bill for that? We did. So there's this money that could have gone to our health insurance and our infrastructure and our education, but that was also bragging. Yeah, that's like 300 million of our money that you just paid. Why? Because Wahid made a decision. Koba Wahid, Singapore or New York, I don't know, TV bala. This does not affect him, but this affects us who are on the ground. This is our money that they are spending, and they think it is, I don't know, gatu of them to do this. I okay. So the person who is responsible ideally is not. So Wahid doesn't have to face any consequences for this. The GMR fiasco. Yamin doesn't have to face anything for his
Wahid a
loans and
face no kurun yam gayu me initially enaga tiri sara dictatorship against kamaka face no kuru Wahid face no kuru all of this is
Hmm.
important Yamin was face no
Now,
kurando.
in case of Maumun, I can at least grant him this. Under him, the economy was stable. It grew. His things are mostly about human rights and
Hmm.
media suppression and color. Rights angle, I look at Maumun, but yes, and there was a lot of underhand dealings and stuff. But still, generally speaking, the economy itself was stable for the
And then
longest
if you're
time, and
going to
then
give if you give it a metric and then see Komnahara
uh,
year on year billions, yes there was growth though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, corruption is hama yamin burnahan is part of human nature. That's our next headline, I
Hmm.
think. Uh, but uh, Gayyam could have done a lot worse in his 30 years of absolute power than he did. Yamin, me angadi tinga har terega. Kaam dhara le waro. I'm thinking because Mamun didn't go about boasting. Yes, I took this many billions in dollars in loans, and now you know, kaya turu turu aliste manya gotten. That's uncalled for. Yeah, there's another headline. Bank of Maldives announces record
Record profit.
profits. Yeah, so good for them, but
Right.
not so good for Qasim.
Yeah, that was a specific point you wanted to make
Yeah.
there, though. That while
Mhm.
all the profits were coming in, that Qasim is languishing
He
in
spent, I think,
jail.
almost an year in
Hmm.
jail. No, but think about it. Bank of Maldives get checks and Bank of Maldives get accounts bear ng kogyang ga mo gaya bod hiyana teng hingi da hingali. दिव्य राज्य सरकार अकाउंट तक वन्न जेहे फैसा हम एता अकाउंट तरग से अकाउंट तक दम डाइवर्ट में करने which is also a BML account, and this thing should have easily been flagged in their systems, and Emi Hungeta or Mozafe manager Qasim found this and nobody else was talking. They would have had a fraud detection area, and I mean there are a lot of people culpable in this, allowing this to happen. And whistleblowing is protected under Divya Rajya Ganun Asasi. They should have stopped it or raised it or leaked it to the press. Kommis kamek kurave da evvis kamen nukottibe sarukaran ebbaralun defa anangahan ibunane profit podu it's there's something wrong about this.
Me,
And the
me.
guy who did
What's wrong is the next heading, this whole corruption being human nature part is exactly what's wrong, because
yeah.
Yamin and his government cannot be going after people whistleblow curious curious with human nature, yeah, against whistleblower curious you can't keep going to the courts and Yamin Nudan because corruption is
Now
part of
I
his.
know this because misalaka in my case I cannot deposit more than 25,000 rupiah into my account without giving some additional information. Konta ko hodi kihinang hodi lari ito balafa. I cannot, when I do freelance pieces and somebody sends me like 200 pounds or whatever. It is if I have to send an invoice, justify myself. Ma bodu vechanundu 200 pound or 200 dollar. Um, but these are millions and millions of dollars transferring every mimik system and a chat trigger and no alarm and nada, which is not right. They were cooperating with the government. It's very evident in just that fact. Mage $200 hifa hatta me ha eka mane kodo hadde ha $1 million me ebo redam taterega. That is not. Uh, BML does have a role. They do need to explain this to the public because it is a publicly traded company. These are things that needs to be revealed as well.
Me,
Except the guy who revealed it spent it in jail.
me annually and now reha detail like Gavadum Denje and isn't anybody scrutinizing all
No,
this?
well, it is not a investor disclosure thing necessarily. Though,
How does
there are
that work?
certain things.
Do you know?
Yeah, well, I know to some extent, but basically there are a set of things that the company needs to provide, like how much cash flow they have, how much profit they made, how they're investing, and which. But it's up to, like, they have some leeway of how they report these figures. That is regulatory requirements. Obviously they would follow, but I'm talking about like a public responsibility point of view. It's like, okay, think about, say, a company like Google and Snowden leaks ke sababam. They had to respond. They had to make a public comment. Parapadu tuhumate mihanga
Mm-hmm.
macha me kore NSA gulige me mihon eba spy kore kan me America rayatunna. And they did say, yes, we oppose this, certain things we cannot talk about under the law, but we will do these steps to protect data centers ತೆರೆಗದು ಆ data encrypt they did have to appeal to the public for certain things. Here they are just celebrating their profits.
Well, everybody is celebrating profits. I mean, Mira is collecting 2 billion tax collector of
Oh
bragging
god,
about
oh
it.
god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Mira is not a company that generates revenue. They are a state agency.
Hmm. Tax collector.
Why are they celebrating 2 billion revenue collect kore? We can put a photo and nagaf. There are balloons with the 2 billion thing on it. There's a printed banner up front. And Huriham and ground a ghost site. I don't know how they took this picture. Is some guy on a building or is it a
On the
drone? I don't know,
balcony.
but this is embarrassing. I mean, BML Rangolo mi photo
Yeah,
naganda. Like we
exactly.
made a
Yeah.
billion in revenue, but the,
Para rangalo
no,
aharake do.
like Raya mi Rangolo mi photo naganda. Yahar mi Huriya Mangawa don't text that guy mi or hama coffee by the. But why is Mira celebrating this? I have no idea. This is just wrong.
Me,
I can't even think of an analogy here.
this is just maybe Yamin's way of gloating the neck and of or you took the billion and
Or
then
maybe this is just like a mind space. Maybe the Mira Commissioner General thought, if we are very active on social media, I mean, it works. And the people who don't know about it will think, "Hey, Mira has they billion hama coffee." I mean, but so maybe that's part of their presence felt. Maybe it's a team building exercise, but yeah, but kind of stupid if you think about it. But I can, in their defense, talk about the flip side. Mira bawa me honda tax nagate. It's like, again, they're just the tax collection agency. The Mira and Nimma the hapasan tax nagan GST nagan.
I make an
Majli
administrative
hong
of
gano
him
nang hadafa nagashe buni may mi nagando
yeah.
jehen hisabo.
Nagang execute ko lang hadafin na
Kaya
fee
man ki
do.
kurang GST nagan yan kachano nagado mi hong atun nagan. It's like Mira has zero say in how much tax they're collecting and from who. Though it's the law. The law says
Mekan
collect
kora.
this much, they will do that. So I find a lot of people on Twitter and stuff, Mira Baba, and I'm like, poor guys, like, they have no say in this. Majuli Baba Shakaya, who the member or nada, but
But this is coming
Mira.
down to color the lack of education about how the systems
Mhm.
work. Amori actually though.
Yeah, and I find this from like otherwise educated people, which I find very surprising because they like tell Mira, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, and Mira has zero control over what they do. Though they just do whatever it says in the law. Yeah. So maybe this is like getting back at those kind of comments. If you're going to be blamed for taking the tax, we might as well celebrate when it's a lot of tax.
Yeah.
uh,
But I mean, and I'd like to know how the money gets spent. Transparent. I'm more interested.
but again, Mira just collects it and puts it into the account. Iti haradu Quran
Yeah,
anekkas
I
mimi hundo.
mean, I
They
mean,
just I don't know.
I'm single purpose of it though. We just collect it and then put it in the account
It's
and
the
done.
front office where you
Yeah.
go and pay things. That's all they do. But they're celebrating the fact that 2 billion the collect Quran.
We collected this shit, man. Alright, let's move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Maldives local council elections postponed a second time.
I think Aslimita Suwalaki, does anybody really care anymore?
I don't feel like me election kurimati wegen ule do mi hun.
But yeah, I don't think anybody cares. I don't even know who's running, say, in my island. Oh, I've heard zero things about it.
Vara ane MDP for legal preparation. You expect much more from MDP than Anya Raho.
No, but the thing is, aslu hagigatuka campaign prepare kuramis ingeni adi intiha baba duhen ingikanda irere
After
kola delay ko
I am Baswan.
adi negeda miti baba ko hanaka April 15th kare buna fana then baba October you don't know this. There is no system there. Apparently they wanted more time to prepare. Now I remembered for what topic. It's like it's like mire by Ashid Jahar Ebra Madev but Intihava.
Farite
Baba the Barabar.
organize kollan.
Kanado
Eruga system
Daro me eta bear notice board a photo was print for a Jaha for the registered voters. So he ran the hell out of that election. I was like, I have a lot of respect for him and his team. Asla.
They did some good work account with them and appreciate no purakan tanagawan ito ki hamella tala ano do. So ठीक है.
Gamu mes bear call devi hai. Yeah.
All right. Over 16 million in unlawful expenses by Health Ministry in 2014 audit report. But a fund is cute, no?
But a fund is cute. So yeah, but I don't think I heard anything about this audit report on social media. Okay, social media for all the Maldivian idol affan get like reviews and I was like okay, priorities.
We can be distracted. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, like I have money not me like just because we watch Maldivian Idol does not mean I don't care about the 16 million. But you don't talk about the other thing even if you did care about it though. But बाकी कुरान कमे बिसने the audit report on ebony the 16 million me unlawfully spend kore.
The hisabe kan ni muni do. Now what hisabo?
And what do? You can't go to the police. Like the audit report, the independent auditors did say this happened. What steps did they take? Health Ministry they never explained it. And there is also the ahar when the MMPRC report was released. So then only could not have report in the
then one ahar has to be just a bad dream now, Yamin.
Yeah, because Niaz Ibrahim was there, like now he's not, so everything's fine. Next headline.
Maldives will not yield to external pressure and introduce freedom of religion. Here we go again. Our daily, weekly dose.
If he doesn't say this any week, I will decide he's changed his mind. It's like it's sort of like, have you heard of this? The what do you call this? I call it US covers for companies like Twitter. They have this thing called a canary clause. So what they do is under American law, under the National Security Commission, Patriot Act, I actually have zero idea which law it is under, but the security agency misal ka NSA request korone data hoda from Twitter komis mihaga account Gmail account gahoreche hawal korash. If it is a national security letter issued to them, they cannot talk about it. A city libum wahaka we semihana ka publicly reveal nukura. But a ganu nako nove the nulibeka hama koronda kene. You can say if you didn't get it, you can say you didn't get it. But if you did get it, you cannot say that you got it. So what they do is they periodically have this section on the website that says we did not get the NSA letter. And then when they do get it, they just remove that clause. They didn't say anything though. They're not obligated to say it. Then you just assume that this has happened. So Reddit has that in their website, and so when something like that happens, they just remove that clause and that this thing has changed. Ego tamasha mitifa kurevenikka. I mean komme hafta karabune kita me baru eliyasane dini mi ehen din taka furusatan nudena me. Then mi hafta bune fane hafta nubune fe ya ega mane kiyati furusat dife kanne.
Kamaska it is the 1 week that they didn't commit any crimes or anything.
Ya me nubune da kahale biswa kihine pa maybe aneka yahudina eneka macha bar forward bhai I got
the flip side that's 1 week that nobody in the government committed any corruption or crime, so he didn't need to lie his way about other religions trademark.
Okay, and we are at the back of the book. For headline.
Okay, teachers suspended for wearing a niqab. The big story of the week.
I think we're going to have a debate about this.
You start.
So here's what I thought. Okay? So we got the Ministry of Education no teacher baki kore school no after some warnings. Me muna burga alayan kulaha. This is a Gurwan teacher who's teaching young kids in her island. I don't quite remember which atoll, but some island. No, it's not Addu atoll. It's some other. It's some other atoll. Then, because MDP, I think, said something about it. But
MDP
here's how I feel about it.
MDP job dari kurvam again. They want a response from MDP officially. They're not going to give a response. That's the one, yeah. So, Moona Burgala can kolla haddiya. Diumen, Diama, Dengalambi, Piavalada. I mean, yes, there is a dress code prescribed for all civil servants in all government places. Ete jehen follow kurang emmen hama. And this lady, this teacher who decided to wear it, clearly already knew that when she wore it. Yeah, under the general regulations, you should have some action taken against you. And in this case, she was given a warning, she refused to take it off. Then makita korane, that was fine. But here's my problem, blanket bans on garments of any sort. And what is it trying to address? Is it trying to address religious radicalism here? Is it trying to address what specific thing are you trying to solve? Because like I said in the earlier comment like wearing a niqab, I mean, I don't agree with it necessarily, but you think that they should have a right?
No, I don't really know how to specifically feel about this, but I have the blanket approach of mono burga hurihamen extremist onne mono burga edo maname korane. It's sort of like I don't know what problem that is trying to solve.
Right, this thing.
One more point before you start.
Right.
And in this context, this is a teacher in a small community. Everybody knows her. She's in the class. She apparently does not have a problem removing it, but a classroom, adults and other strangers can see her. That's why she doesn't remove it. So she's okay with children seeing her face. That other argument about the children doesn't know her, that also doesn't really hold up in this example. So here what I find is there is a teacher who's a trained teacher who is probably, I don't know, good at her job, and there's nobody else to replace her with Wes Adi. She is trying to take part in the community by teaching in a school, which is a mainstream profession. When you're saying that she cannot do that, she can't take a government job, or maybe that's the only job maybe she's qualified for. And are you not telling her to stay at home?
Right. Furtama
Mm.
me hana me yang approach kuram benuwa annam benuwa
I actually
again.
foresaw this being a debate. Okay, okay, go on.
Me how I want to approach this is me
Mm,
Furtama anyways. This whole thing is where is her right to wear whatever she wants to wear. Nage haggutake anone waki mihak waki gotakang hedung alumuge wahaka state ang impose kore vidane. All these things me hama ekala liberal mihun tibegen ebadakado ekala nama veski afa. And this
ah,
is very difficult. Furtama, we should understand what we are trying to do here. We are
mm,
trying to run a republic with a
yeah,
set of laws.
mm,
Then hisabu, we need to have consensus me laws the shape of nani kihinato kombayakato address one.
mm,
Misalaka, okay, mira shuga emme teacher enguri a teacher kiyawa den dam beno එකම කියන මොනුබුරු ගාලා ස්කූල් ಗ ෆාරෝ හුරි
mm,
ගතකොම් බේර ෆෙනේ මෙම you know ene understand way me monuburu ga nagang evaje just to have that connection with the students, but you know because the wall is in such a way berun dame na fennati monuburu gala all this stuff hama jehani comply wa as soon as the law is there in a specific way.
yeah, but what's the purpose of this law? That's what I was trying to get at.
Right.
Because laws shouldn't just be arbitrary. They should have something that they're trying to address. So if there's a law that says children should go to school complete till their 10th grade, like objective, okay, yeah,
Yeah, well,
you
this
have
requires a
this.
lot of honesty from, you know,
Mm,
liberal side with me, the best conservative falling me, religious extreme falling me, uri am honest ko kabul koranya. This isn't about madama. Somebody else could impersonate her. That's
mm,
one thing, and that's not to say this particular woman, this particular instance nikang hingati mala nikang bodu
mm,
again. Generally, if someone has face covered and you are socially involved in a situation takalla that one incident where me impersonate cooking commit dimawa haro outcome goes with aniti though laws thing exist one Jenny. So we need to have this discussion about safety point of view in gamoga terega raitu miwahaka dekevenje and this is where I come from. I come from completely safety point of view. I cannot accept me if regardless of whether you think that this is your religious belief. Why did you have this religious belief? As I reject certain ways that you think prerogative. When you had conditioning from your childhood or over years to make you believe this is what you wanted to do. No, you do not have free will.
mm.
I would argue this.
Mm, again, when you think about the law, I feel like laws should be measurable in terms of their impact. Misalaka, okay, there could be a safety issue with somebody covering their face. Yes, magamatiga misalaka, if I see a bunch of guys covering their face and walking around with a hood, I would be I would feel unsafe because that looks menacing and threatening, and I understand that point. But is the solution to miharis male magumatega manamane mi mono no fenna gota maskalage misalaka kuringa ja protest kor mihara protest korung itself is mana. So I don't know, but what I'm trying to get at is this: is the fact that this person, like the problem I have with a niqab is it is exclusionary. Once you cover your face, you're sort of censoring yourself out from your surroundings. Other people cannot interact with you except through this barrier. And maybe that's what you feel is right. I don't know, but it is by its nature exclusionary. Okay? So my problem with that is a woman is being excluded from society, and I don't think it is necessary out of free will or choice.
No, I
Like you
don't
said,
think.
I'm okay with that. I agree with you on that. Ekamako, the solution for that should not be because she is wearing an exclusionary garment, let us exclude her. How is that sensible? But this is somebody I don't want to be at home. I want them to participate as much as they can. So is it like if you cannot participate 100%, you have to participate zero? A binary choice me society ka structure way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, and
Yeah.
I mean, very nuanced believe, ma'am. This is like a sensible discussion to have. Inge ekamako
So
miharo
so
bagotiki.
why can't we have a an option where it is sort of on a case by case basis? Maybe in certain situations, if this is a recognized problem, misalaka school like somebody turns up who wasn't supposed to turn up. If there's any evidence of this happening, yeah, school ka mana kurambi,
Me,
or based on that do this. But is it not addressing an imaginary problem if this hasn't been documented to have happened? I think MDN released a statement, and I did not fully agree with it because they took this child abuse angle, and I never heard of Mono Burgalagan Kulaga child abuse story. I haven't heard. I have heard of Guru and teachers, men in their tuition centers or whatever doing this. I have not heard of a Mono Burga being responsible for that. So that is a different power dynamic.
me,
Eh,
baik kang
So,
kamu
hmm,
I
yeah,
thought you were
go on,
done.
go on.
Baik kang
Yeah, yeah,
kamu
I'm done.
I think the decision has to be binary. Yama, this is straight, clear cut, etchy. Inge, like,
Isaba moon buruga mana korambi,
no, no,
not
I am bani the
why is the whole thing not banned? Ehme jen gegas for again no one the vakete alaga.
well,
So that is worse
gega thing.
than coming to school.
Me see, I think we can go with the nuanced discussion on it's fair to say state get on facility the job the clothes sanikati whatever thing while the state doesn't interfere with how you dress monoburga ban and nukurame, but you can't have these things in our pub and wazifa takkandikonna. I think that's a fair argument. Muliyati ban noko. So that way people who actually chooses to follow it can have that thing, but they understand mege fatuga mihira kankang e buhurikang. So this is not a decision that you're going to have lightly nunageneka. And then I think some people should be made examples of this mechanic. So I might be taking the
But
hard
wouldn't
line.
that actually feed into this whole victimization narrative? Kala, if you think about how this radicalism mainstream again the post Maumon, because these people were victimized, because Nafari Kutumbuli Belema, because
Mine,
Mimi Hongos Jala Kalalema.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
Ege Badalo, it can we not have an alternate where your whole Monopurga ideology is challenged publicly, then banned? Akala, when one so the solution for me is maybe there's some rehabilitation program for these people where you go and sit in conditions that you find acceptable and be convinced that you can be a perfectly good Muslim according to this people. But once you ban it, it sort of feeds into their belief that you can't be a proper Muslim in this country, and the Muslims are not the victims in this case. It
Mer
is not.
dem me bune mendo me case by case selective ko me evaluate ko allow kure vidane do but that's not how
No,
you
not allow korum. By default, allow koffa. The case by case, misaka incident hinga fiya mong misaka. When I was in a, when I was in India, there was this mall. Mall near the escalators and all the upper floors. There are entire nets, drawn across the thing. I was like, what the fuck is this? somebody committed suicide there by jumping from the fourth floor, and this is a risk to the people downstairs in the thing. This has happened, so somebody should take action to prevent that from happening. But is the solution to put nets everywhere all the time just so that to prevent this one thing that hasn't happened yet from happening? And again, like, what laws should be based on some provable data. If there was cases of somebody monoburga molesting a child or some sort of safety thing, this is a small community, this person is recognized by everybody, she's there in this room, she doesn't have a problem with showing her face to the children, there are remedies around it. Maybe she's in a room where it is not facing the street, for instance.
Meeti Moonburuga Andani, this whole the fear issue, the safety issue is not, Rajya Mikal coming after Nete. No, this is ideology. The fact that they wear the Monoburuga itself is because of the ideology they believe in. And the same ideological people rooted in the same source material is out there blowing people up in other countries. The fact something didn't happen in our country doesn't mean.
But that would be fighting back an ideology, which is okay. Please do it.
This has to. We need to.
Ideology target kuranya. The solution isn't to ban teachers from classrooms and then that conversation should happen. And they shouldn't be able to stay at home with because no, that should be tackled on multiple levels.
Right. I mean, the ideal state that this discussion became more than just two headlines and then outrage on Twitter. Everybody
No, but that's what. Who is going to challenge the Miharo? Like in this case, say the Salaf is trying to protect a woman's the Jamiat al-Salaf is trying to protect a woman's right to go to a school, and the state is saying no, she can't go to a school and take part in a job. I find something wrong with that picture.
Because
if it was the Salaf,
it's removed from context of the Buruga, Monoburuga, Lasava, Manakuriza.
Context participation in society. For me, that's what the monoburga is a problem with. For me, to begin with, is if somebody wears a monoburga and is an athlete or is a teacher or is in the arts or is in music or I don't know, whatever, if you're participating in society, hypothetically,
the person who runs into places.
But let's say sports even if this person is getting medals.
Bloody right.
That's what they hypothetically. I'm not saying that this has happened. Maybe this wearing just a mask, just this you cannot take part in competitive sports because reasons. But what if this person is a very good athlete and can do this whole series of things and is participating and is not forcing others to she's going by the same rules as everybody else except her face is covered, but in that case I don't see this blanket approach. If this one specific individual is not posing a risk to anybody in her community or in her classroom, why is she not allowed to do this? Why are we asking her to stay at home?
And then we are assuming this person made a conscious decision to cover her face because she thought it was the right thing to do, right? A assumption much based on I think we really need to come back to the issue of why is she thinking covering her face is actually...
That's what you said about contesting the ideology. I am okay with that. I don't agree with this ideology. I don't agree with the monoburuga.
We need to go there.
This is not the solution to that. Is banning a teacher from going to the classroom the solution to that ideology? I don't think it is.
Well,
is this helping that?
Right,
or is it assisting this?
Right. So, Mayor, I think these incremental achievements can hold on journey towards a larger goal. So basically, this has allowed to have this conversation out into the mainstream and it covers after a was called a buffer. And I think
Mhm.
we need to make sure that this stays in the mainstream so that we can have defined quorum with okay me damben I would like it to be fully banned in the country and with mage end goal lucky 20 years later I want to achieve a full ban incremental steps
Oh, but එහෙට වෙස් නොවානේ මිහාර මිකුරක් අන්ත කොරාගත මිහාර ड्रेस कोड गदे මිහන් ඉෆනේ but අනෙක් කොළොම් එක්කල 3-day conference ගන්න මිහන් එම්මෙන් එබ්බෙක මිබුණනේ මූණ බෝ ගාලමක extremism and known that is fine. So if it is not extremism, why is this person being excluded? If this is a moderate normal person according to the state, why, what grounds do they have to
මීර හුරි
ban this?
narratives line එක එන්දෝ මේ අනේ serious වාක්‍යයක් දෙකේ වෙන්නේ
එහෙම education ministry මේ Islamic ministry අබ ජෙහෙද ඇත්තාව තිබෙක මේ වාහක දක්කම් that's what I'm saying. Ideologically, yes, I am opposed to it. You know that, but I'm trying to like me blanket ban and establish Korema. Are you helping them or are you resolving this problem? I'm actually thinking in terms of actual impact because mihare mihinga victim narrative feedback kada that cyclical thing aslo push kare because the whole stake is basically we are the victims and we just added to it.
hypothetically assume that it was like miyange mihaya sarkaruge ekala dress code massal yoniki no assume kuringe kulliya kama blanket ko moonu buruga ban ko ai inge what is the possible out and emiti unfold one outcome ki ko ba ehal banning immediately
Nasheed tikan koffiya mimihentanne konnaane
istiglal
yamen tikan koffiya tibene bassayage da yitu charge ko deena mane me press release and erafane but that's about it.
දැන් මේ මම අර යාමින්න තායතක ෆුර්තම යාමින්නතු මිමියන් කතලේ විගෙන් අනේ අන්නියද්දම
yeah, because do you see like total lack of protest hana with FR Israel doctor on take malen ask me hum pick up takan arage male washa buru jaha yahudi comfort band menona yahudi ne fate band menona kiya these people like the eye of Zion ke mane ka Zion the mefenne male billboard ko so these people they only operate when there is less resistance. The moment they actually have to face any consequence, they back out like faster than you can say the word. I don't count on them to resist Yameen at all. Then hisabunnu vejje dendane body fag commissary sortaka that's their next outlet the issue dima kurimati vema. They have zero ways of addressing this within the system. They just don't have the capacity to do it. Then around the system and try to uproot the system itself by blowing something up. So yeah, I don't think there's a solution with these people, but the mainstream society I feel needs to engage in a way that is not counterproductive and is sensible because regardless of whether we accept it or whether we agree with it or not, there's a significant population in the Maldives who have these beliefs, who are Salaf inclined and banning their public participation is just going to drive them underground or exclude them from society. And I don't think that's a sustainable thing, Aslo, going forward. Because 10% මාදගන්න 20% අරාෆ දැන් ගන්න 30%. You cannot function in a society where 30% of the people are just not allowed to participate in this bucket where everybody else is feeding from. So I feel that there is, if you're going to counter an ideology, that should be the decision and counter that ideology in a way that works.
Bottom line මම state fully secular against secular decision තක නගාව මේ indoctrination issues takang address kurani venues takang huluwa me that they need to be brought back into sort of acceptable society.
Like in a society like say France, where this concept of laicite exists, where they have a separate identity, the French Mibuna identity that has evolved through this history with the Catholic Church and whatever. But uh, in their society, it works because that has become their identity to be. It is not just absence of religion. It is sort of pushing religion out of this visible thing. It offends them to see so they bengal sarkar of classroom
Mind you,
so
the French Revolution was an important part of the whole thing.
yeah, that took decades and decades of instability to arrive at this point. But uh, over the next some hundreds of years, they have an identity, a unique identity that they want to preserve. Maldivians, we don't really have an identity that we feel strongly about that we want to preserve. Heavy mother, like any random influence, whether it is the monoburka or skinny jeans or I don't know whatever. Like what if I say fads the as uh, whether like it takes root very very easily. But I find I don't think we have any resistance towards influences, external influences. What if I say um, and to develop this sort of resistance or have an intellectual basis for your national identity, I think is important. Ekan korevani sarukara, and it will take time, but I just don't think without doing any of those steps to have a sort of resilience against these ideologies, to have children who are educated and have a population who have ideas. I don't think this sort of blanket ban on niqabs is helpful.
Right, can me similar me
Hmm.
same Wahhabi Bhaganta. Some of them are refusing the Darina vaccine jaham. Have you heard?
Hmm.
You've heard this
Hmm.
before. Right. So can they refuse? I don't think they can refuse Amilla Dari Viasmir. This is about herd immunity issue
No,
at
they
the
can't. No.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. You can't refuse, even though some people do, but legally you cannot. No.
Right. So I do a blanket black and white straight for
No, that's the false equivalence. No, see, this is Misaka, when you don't vaccinate your child, there is a child's health actually involved. It's not just the child's health, surrounding
It's a
people,
herd
their health
immunity
also
issue, yeah.
impact. It's a herd immunity thing. So if one person does not vaccinate their child, A, they don't like their children, B, you're a social society pose a measurable risk um, in terms of that's why a lot of diseases are coming back in terms of frequency. In that case, yes, you do not have a choice in how you drive or whether you can vaccinate your kids.
But are you unable to put the same argument? Rising extremism, security threats,
Then take that angle, Lemmikian. Extremism
but the
isn't
same
niqab.
logic
That's what I'm
applies to you,
saying.
But this is a no-brainer for me. The niqab ban should just happen.
No, but is somebody going to teach in a school affecting society in a negative, measurable manner? If this one lady, how?
Theories, all the kids are taught that a
It's okay to
person.
wear a niqab.
Yes, exactly. I find that extremely offensive. That you indoctrinate kids in a school environment and make them think that it is perfectly normal.
Take that stand, make that stand that wearing a niqab is wrong. Put that in their school textbooks,
I support
and
that. I support. So let's see. Me
but don't
argument
make it
danje
about a
tanata.
dress code, and therefore this person cannot do
No,
that.
it's just pussyfoot. Indo as the point ang ebbas nu evigin dakka
Anekkulange
dushitu
pune
akalo.
moonu boragalu mak extremism and nune. So the state
No,
is not
unable to
consistent in
pick
its
a
message.
side.
Yeah,
A position and nagannu kerigan already because it's worried about the backlash. It's coming up with bullshit narratives about me sarkaru gavade munje. No,
and so that's what. If you're going to counter an ideology, counter the ideology. Don't do this. This is not countering an ideology. This is pointless and in fact counterproductive.
right. I mean I'm
This is not how you
agreeable on.
counter an
I
ideology.
am agreeable to that. Henge mi har the point of view. Tigota.
All right, how much time did we spend on this, by the way?
Right. We've spent the almost 30 minutes on the last one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's wind up.
Yeah. One hour 45 minutes we are at now. So
Yeah, that's not too bad,
yeah, it wasn't too bad.
considering we had a lot of stories this
Right.
time.
We rushed through the stuff and then got
Ah,
stuck
yeah.
on the half an hour on the last one.
Okay, so yeah, I think tomorrow is my. So today is the 11th of February. 12th is when I put up my next. When I start writing the next article, I'll probably end up putting it up on Monday, just because of my schedule. I end up starting writing it on Sunday nights, Mihar. I actually had thought of doing this on say Saturday evenings, and then but my schedule just does not allow me. So what I do right now is I write it on Sunday evening, my weekly post, and then I don't want to publish it at 2 in the morning because nobody's up at that hour. So I just schedule it for Monday morning around 8:30. So that's when you sort of now expect a new post.
Right.
I'm trying to
So
see if I can do this on Saturday evenings and publish it on Sunday morning. And then it'll be like a proper week.
I won't now me har me the previous week geti the day before the new article comes out karne ero dekola vane. To me that works out okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Let's play around with the times a bit and see what works.
So
Because this week
this
you are not.
record yeah this recording should be out latest media it's too late. So the morning
Mhm.
schedule ko
Yeah, and then the next day I will be putting up
right.
the new post. So yeah, you can
All
do
right.
that.
All right.
All right then.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool. All right. I'll talk to you next week.
okay. Bye.
Bye.